You know, when a company is growing like crazy, it feels like you're on a rocket ship, right? But then the ride starts to get a little bumpy. Success is accelerating, but behind the scenes, your financial operations are starting to rattle and strain. So the big question is, how do you keep scaling without the wheels coming off? That's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Does this feel familiar? You're hitting all your sales targets, but your month-end close is this frantic, stressful scramble. Your financial reports are late, again. The very department that's supposed to be fueling your growth suddenly feels like it's holding you back. And listen, this isn't just a growing pain, it's a serious vulnerability.
And this really gets to the core of the scaling challenge. Look, when you're a small team, you can get by on pure hustle. But as you get bigger, that kind of makeshift approach, it doesn't just bend, it breaks. It creates this very specific kind of chaos where you desperately need consistency and rock-solid control over your finances. It goes from being a nice to have to an absolute must for survival.
Now, the pressure points, they almost always pop up in the same spots. We're talking about the absolute basics: day-to-day accounting, getting accurate reports out, and just staying on top of compliance. When these core things are handled by an in-house team that's already stretched thin, they don't just slow you down, they can bring your company's momentum to a dead stop.
But being overworked is just the symptom, right? The actual problem goes a lot deeper. So let's pull back the curtain and look at the hidden risks, the kind of stuff you don't notice until it's way too late, that a traditional in-house finance team can create when you're growing fast. And this is risk number one. It's a biggie. Your entire financial process becomes dangerously dependent on just one or two people. Come on, you know the person, that heroic controller who has the entire closing process memorized, or the one accountant who built that master spreadsheet that no one else dares to touch. This has a name. It's key person risk. And what it means is your most critical operation is one resignation or even just one vacation away from complete chaos. That dependency, it leads directly to this. When your process isn't really a system, but more like a secret held by a couple of people, your results become totally unpredictable. It's a roll of the dice. One month, the books are perfect and on time. The next, someone's out sick, and it's a mess of errors and delays. You lose that reliable, predictable rhythm that every healthy business needs to make smart decisions. So you can see how this kicks off a really nasty cycle. The unpredictability leads to risk, you miss compliance deadlines, you make bad decisions based on bad data. Then costs start to climb because you're throwing more people at the problem or paying for last-minute fixes. And it all leads to the most dangerous thing for leadership: a total loss of control. You're basically flying blind right when you need to see clearly the most. Okay, so if that traditional model is broken, then what's the fix? This is where we shift gears. There's a totally different way to think about your finance function, a model that's built specifically to get rid of all that chaos. It's called managed services. So what in the world are managed services? Well, forget about just hiring more people. This is about partnering with a team that takes complete end-to-end ownership of a specific process, like your accounts payable or your entire financial close. The key difference is what you're buying. You're not buying someone's time, you're buying a guaranteed outcome. The whole model is designed to deliver a consistent, predictable result every single time. So how does this model actually pull off that promise of predictability? Well, it isn't magic. It's all about structure. The entire system is built on three main pillars, and they're all designed to bake reliability and control right into your finance operations from day one. And this lays it out perfectly. First, you've got end-to-end process ownership. That means one team is accountable from the very beginning to the very end. No gaps, no "that wasn't my job." Second, the delivery is standardized. Think of documented workflows, and this is crucial, service-level agreements, or SLAs, that actually define what success looks like in a contract. And third, the governance is crystal clear. Everyone knows who's responsible for what and how it's all being measured. The real beauty of this structure is that it systematically squeezes out human error and just randomness. It basically turns your finance function from an art form that only a few overworked people know into a repeatable science. You get consistent quality and much stronger financial controls because the system itself guarantees the result, not a specific person. So what's the end result? What does life actually look like for a business after they make this change? Well, it's a huge transformation. You're moving from that reactive chaos we talked about at the beginning to a whole new world of proactive clarity and real control. This slide really says it all, doesn't it? You're trading a world that is unpredictable, inconsistent, and ultimately out of your control for one that is designed to be predictable, consistent, and gives you much, much stronger controls over your company's financial health. It's the direct solution to those scaling pains we talked about.
So let's translate that into what it really means for the business. It means you get predictable outcomes that you can actually build your strategy around. It means your costs become predictable too. You go from a fluctuating payroll to a stable service fee. But maybe most importantly, as a leader, you finally get true, clear visibility into the financial engine of your company.
And this, right here, is what every executive dreams of. Your job is to steer the ship, right? Not to be down in the engine room trying to patch leaks. This model lets the critical, day-to-day financial stuff run like clockwork in the background. It frees you up to focus on the big picture, on strategy, on growth, all while knowing you're guided by numbers you can actually trust.
So let's end with this question. What if you never had to worry about the month-end close again? What if your financial reporting and compliance just happened, reliably, accurately, on time, every single time? What if your finance team became a powerful engine for your growth instead of a bottleneck holding it back? That is the path to predictable operations.